Okay, let's start with the talk. The talk is called, I'm scared to bring it up in case it crashes, but I think it's called something like you're never born and you'll never die. Yeah. You're never born and you never die. I mean, this is such a famous quote of non-duality, and I'm sure I've done a talk on this before. Maybe people that have watched my talks will know if there was a talk titled this. I'm sure I have. But yeah, you are never born and you will never die. Yeah. So we're so amazing as humans. We really are. Our mind is amazing. Our life's extraordinary. Like, it's such an amazing experience to have this human life. The fact that we can think, that we can look out of our eyes, that we can see a world. That we can be in relationship with things, that we can remember things, that we can talk about how beautiful the sunset is, or the clouds trickling through the valley, or the leaves falling from the trees. What an extraordinary, exquisite experience. And it keeps on going and going and going until it stops. So it's really a miraculous gift to have a human experience. But the problem is with having a brain and having this ability to think in time and this complex social civilization is we identify with something which is not true. We identify with the character. So there is a character that appears which allows us to socialize. So the character communicates and interacts with people and allows us to live in a complex society. But the identification with it is what gives the impression that we're born and that we're going to die. And this creates all the problems. Not all the problems, like the problem like not having enough money or running out of firewood in the winter when there's no more firewood, or wars, not these types of external problems. I mean the internal problem, the internal world. Like, it creates suffering and stops us really experiencing and being here in what is and appreciating what is, because we're lost in the character. We're lost in this waking dream. So earlier, I took a little nap. A nap. That's such a funny word, nap. Like gnat, but P on the end, nap. Nap. So I took a nap, and it's so amazing when you fall asleep and when you wake up. I just allowed myself to sleep for 30 minutes. I didn't go into deep sleep. But like, you know, when I was falling asleep, I was like watching the dreams. I don't know if you've ever done that before. I wasn't lucid dreaming, but I was watching the dreams appear. And I was kind of awake watching them. And it's so funny, like watching what the mind produces. Like all types of random stuff that's normally repeats of things that happen during the day. And even though I was laying there like half asleep, I was still contemplating how strong that is, and how, you know, that same mechanism that's happening happens in the waking life. This dream appears of you, and it's taken to be real. Like when you get sucked into a dream at night, you know, like I'm watching them, and then at some point I just black out, and then I don't know really what happens. But I was watching these dreams, and I was aware that I was watching them. So I knew that the dreams weren't true. But in our daily life, we really believe the human dream. And it's so immensely complex and simple simultaneously, because the ability to have this dream of the character helps us improve our survival circumstances and navigate our social standing. And we have to do that no matter what, unless you live in a cave where you never meet humans, you, with a very simple hand-to-mouth life, you have to navigate this complex social drama. And our ability to perceive that improves our survival circumstances. But what seems to happen in the human, which is like a phenomenal illusion, is a belief that the imaginings are you. So the story that you went to see your friends yesterday and you had an argument, most humans on this planet believe that that is real and true and don't see it as thought processes, which are memories and impressions of something that doesn't exist now. So therefore, in a way, never really happened. And the importance of seeing that and that realization is the difference between being identified with the character and believing all your mind is saying, just like in a sleep, just like when you're dreaming and you dream that you're on the moon eating a cow, as aliens circle. So that crazy dream that you're having at night and totally believing it's real, that's what humans do here. They have these thoughts about their existence and believe it's real. And what's amazing about our mind is we have some form of consecutive reality, but everybody sees this consecutive reality differently. So if you listen to your friend's story about your meeting yesterday, it'll be vastly different to your story. Not because either of you are liars, but because our thoughts aren't truth. Our thoughts are there, and our story of ourselves is there to help and aid our survival. Our interpretation of it is to aid our survival. It's not as a fact checker, like this is what happened and this is who I am. It's there to aid our survival by understanding other people's meaning, by understanding what they want from us. It aids our ability to survive. By having a collective reality, we can communicate and we can navigate and we can sell products to each other and we can exchange and we can live in this complex civilization. But humans take it as their identity, which is an insanity, but it doesn't feel like an insanity. To most humans, I'm insane. To most psychologists, we have delusional thinking, because we think we're God. We're most probably narcissistic personality disorder or schizophrenia in some way, or, to most people, the questioning of that being who you are seems like an insanity. But to me, this is absolute sanity. So what is it that you are if you're not your thoughts? And that is everything. Everything. And it's not just thoughts we identify with the body, with emotions, with feelings. It's this whole thing that we're identifying with, rather than seeing it as what it is. It's a practical phenomena arising in order for a complex social civilization. It's not who you are. So Khaleesi is not an abandoned dog who managed to strike the gold mine by coming and claiming Lisa as her owner. That is not who she is. That's the story of that body. But to her, it's non-existent. It's gone. It's only repeated and remembered by me. That's not who she is. Who she is this moment, this presence. And the body has a memory. So she hates gardeners because the gardeners used to hit her with the spade. So she hates gardeners. She'll never not hate gardeners because that's in the body. But that's not who she is. She's not a dog that hates gardeners, but it's so complex for us to decipher out. It's like, of course she is, but she's not. She's this moment. To her, she has no idea what the word gardener means, or hating, or problems. She is as she is right now. And the same with you. The same with all of us. The character is a functioning. I'm not saying don't work on the character. I work on my character. My character's got many flaws to work on, and she's also got great things about her as well. But that's not who you are. The character is born. The character will die. But who you are never dies. I have a cold and I forgot my tissue. Very practical, Lisa. And we can talk about how to release stuff in the human world and how to have a healthier human being, but that's not really my passion. But we can talk about that to an extent. Like from almost 25 years now of being involved in this subject, I've learned great techniques, and I have a reference page recommending different techniques to calm the character down. Because when the character is really crazy and when there's lots of suffering, how can you contemplate that's not you? You're so involved in it, like a dream at night, you know, and it's like a really scary dream, and like you're in Jurassic Park and a Tyrannosaurus is chasing you. How can you begin to like contemplate, like, who are you? Are you the dream or are you watching the dream? It's like, F off, run! There's a Tyrannosaurus coming! Boom! 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 Remember from Jurassic Park 1, the drink starts to spin. Boom! Here it comes! Boom! 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 Rah! I love spiritual people. I remember once I was telling a spiritual friend about a trauma I'd had in this life, and they said to me, yes, that reminds me of a past life when I was eaten by a dinosaur, or attacked by a dinosaur. You know, and they were like really serious, and I was like, it was not a criticism of past life memories or meaning to put it down. I just love the wackiness of us spiritual people. You could write a lot of comedy skits about us. Yeah. So when we identify with this waking dream, this character, there's a phenomena that appears, you'll hear in many spiritual traditions, called seeking. So when I used to study Buddhism, it was called craving. And the seeking is the looking for yourself in objects, in time, in things, in experiences. So looking for yourself in separation, in something other than yourself. And what I mean by looking for yourself, like looking for who you truly are. Because who you truly are is deeply at home now and at peace. It's not needing anything, it's not rejecting anything, it's not contemplating what is a good or bad society to live in. It's totally free of anything from this world. That's who you truly are, everybody. It's the birthright of all things. And so when that's hidden, when you believe you are something limited, a character, a story that you're repeating again and again in your head, I am this body, I am successful, I am better than, I'm less than. Like when you believe that who you are is found in a thought, somebody that will be born and somebody that will die, then you seek to improve yourself, to become better, to become bigger, and you seek to try and find the relaxation that you know yourself to be, because you are always that piece of who you are. But when there's identification, it's like there's some part that knows that, but then some part that's seemingly forgotten that, so it seeks to find relief from that. So it wants to be better than other people. It doesn't want to experience certain emotions. It doesn't want to be shameful. Normally, the two big emotions at the base of that seeking is fear and aloneness. So the seeking is wanting to get love and avoid fear. So those are the two main dynamics. So to obtain love and security, so you could call it abandonment as a fear of being abandoned or kicked out of this society. So there's a seeking for love and to fit in. So that's the more social aspect, like looking to others for your security. There's a natural phenomena to that, which isn't seeking. Like, we survive in a group, so there's going to be the natural urges and momentum to be part of a group. But it's the seeking element where you're trying to find yourself in that we're highlighting. That's not who you are. And that's not actually what you really want. What you really want is home, which is where all the wants come from, where all the thoughts come from, where in fact this entire world comes from. You could say presence, consciousness, I amness, beingness. It all comes from this. No-thingness, everything. That's what you truly want, but the mind believes it wants to not feel abandoned or lonely. So normally all your seeking can be found in these two categories when you trace it back, and the other one is fear. And aloneness and fear are very similar, because abandonment from society means death, and then fear is the fear of death. So in the end, it's the fear of death. But they come to these two categories. So it's the fear of not existing in thought, not existing as a story, not existing as someone. I've watched a few people die in my life, and what's always fascinated me, I don't mean to sound like a evil scientist experimenting on them, it's very sad to watch, and one day someone's going to watch me, or I'm going to die alone. It happens to us all on the human body level. But what's fascinating is you get the impression that often what they fear is being abandoned and kicked out of society. and that they're going to be kicked out of something or left out of something. And you can see how that's imagined. Like, I was part of this society, I was part of this group, I own these things, and now I'm not going to anymore. But that's only in thought. You know, in the moment of dying, as in the moment of falling asleep, it's the letting go of this imagination of yourself, but there's the same presence, always. The same alive presence, which never leaves. So right now there is stillness. There is absolute silence. And in that stillness, thinking and imagining is happening. And the thinking and the imagining is not who you are. Who you are is what's always here, which is the stillness and the silence and the peace. When you're sucked into the imagining and the thoughts, then you're subject to good and bad, right and wrong, love and rejection. And when there's a sucking out, there's a character that wants to be part of the society, that wants to have a house or wants to have shelter, you know, has these natural desires, these survival desires, which will look different in everybody, and there will be a particular character there, but it's a happening. It's no longer you, and it takes the edge off everything. It's freedom. It makes the character very easy to manage. Like, you're not lost in mental agony over things. Things come and go very easily. And there's lot less attachment to things, to everything that's happening. And there's a deep resting in what you are. And the character can still have its crazies and still expand. You know, there's no character to me that's an enlightened person, perfect human. The character continuously can expand and improve. But there can be certain body minds that are no longer identified with the character, and deep peace remains inside. So there's a deep stillness, but the character is it's a conditioned thing. It has its little funkies. Like, to me, there isn't an enlightened character. Enlightenment is beyond the character. And a lot of people project that onto people. So they believe that people are enlightened, and then they make them these God figures, these gurus, and put put them on massive pedestals and then feel let down because they're not this or that, because they get angry or because they have sex or because they tell a few porky pies. Pardon me. That person wouldn't do this. And how you'd be able to recognize somebody that's free. Because the character's still the character. It can have its funk on. And like today, I was out with Khaleesi, and Khaleesi's not friendly with other dogs very often. I'm not really allowed to talk about my friends and family online, so often I have to come back to talking about Khaleesi because she's the only one that doesn't mind. So you might think that I'm like totally obsessed with Khaleesi, but it's because I can't talk about any other areas of my life. Yeah. Online, which you can understand. People don't want me using them as an example. So yeah, I'm out with Khaleesi today, and these young girls had a dog, and they weren't in control of the dog at all. So the dog kept coming up and irritating Khaleesi. And Khaleesi wears a muzzle, so she can't bite them. But it's, firstly, she's got heart disease, so it's not good that she gets irritated like that. And then secondly, at some point, she's going to try to attack that dog. You know, if it keeps coming up and irritating, so she's going to jump on it, even if she's got her muzzle on. And really, the dog etiquette thing is to, you know, not allow your dog to piss off other dogs that are muzzled and on the lead, like you. But these girls didn't really know, you know, and so repetitively happens, and it becomes annoying, I have to say. Yeah. And that's you know, part of the character. You know, a different character wouldn't get annoyed. A different character would get more annoyed, get like irate and tell them off. You know, it's part of the character. We get into this idea, okay, we've got to have this perfect character that has no reactions, mostly because we're living in some kind of narcissistic abuse idolization where it's like, if I have no reactions, then I can be the perfect person for this narcissist in my life. Or this idea of, if I'm the perfect person, I will be loved, you know, because it's like a narcissistic idea inside of you. And it's not about having perfect emotions. That's part of life. Life can have difficult emotions. Who is it rejecting or identified with the emotions?